Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Appreciate everybody hopping on here this morning. Try to knock out this winter coaches meeting, get organized, just 3 weeks away. So make sure we all get on the same page. And if there are things that we need to do in preparation for your season coming up, certainly let us know, but get everybody into that frame of mind here as we near the start of winter sports. Going to start with, I want to introduce Nick Sheriff. I know, Nick, you're on. Nick, I'm going to stop share just so everybody can see him real quick if he hops on. Nick is our new full-time athletic trainer, hired here at through Albemarle County Schools. We still have Amy Alvarez, 20 hours a week. So there'll be a little bit of consistency. And that's been very helpful for Nick, who's been with us about maybe a month now, and is doing a great job. We're excited to have him. Comes to us from Florida, Barry University. And so very excited to have him with us. He's off to a great start. Nick, I don't know if you want to say anything other than introduce yourself, but if you've got any business to offer up as well, that'd be fine.
Morning, everybody. How you doing? The introduction was great. At the moment, I'm just kind of observing to see if I can interject in any points, through the itinerary for the meeting. I'm sure most of what I have in mind will be covered, but.
Okay, great. Hey, Nick, why don't you go ahead and give everyone your cell phone number? That's
okay. I'll put it down in the chat.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. Okay, so like I said, we still have Amy with us, and I think all of you have worked with Amy, so you should have her cell phone number and so forth. So anyway, we will move on. I will just say that AED locations for winter sports are in the main gym lobby. Okay, if you're indoors, and then they are also in the ice machine storage room at the stadium. Okay, the backside of the concession stand. Okay. Let me get this agenda up here. Okay. So important dates. I'm going to let each of you conduct your own winter sports parents meeting again this year. If you would just schedule your own, let me know the date that you decide to do that. I will record a video with athletic information, from the athletic department that we would like to share with parents, okay, for you. And I'd ask you to simply play that at your parent meeting. Okay, some handbook points of emphasis, and a lot of this stuff is review, but it warrants continued emphasis. Supervision is our number one priority, number one issue that gets schools in trouble from a legal perspective. So just keep that in mind. We are responsible for our athletes from the time they report to practice to the time they get a ride home. Okay, and in particular, I've highlighted locker rooms. That tends to be an area that shenanigans can take place, so including hazing, which is the next item there. So I really recommend that if you have athletes utilizing locker rooms, just be consistent in your I'm going to say supervision, but make sure you're seen, okay? Walking through the locker rooms, and that kids know you're available normally, or a coach is available normally, should something take place, okay? Unfortunately, the county is dealing with a situation right now right along these lines. So It can happen. I know we have a lot of good kids. We wouldn't expect um, things like this to happen here, but if it does, we need to make sure that we can show we were responsible and taking care of our responsibility of being available and supervising to at least a minimum standard. Okay. And then the other point on hazing is if you hear anything, bring it to my attention. Okay. If you, and the definition of hazing is, not as outlandish as it maybe once was. Okay. So essentially anytime an athlete feels forced or uncomfortable doing something they don't want to do, okay, outside of um, athletics, that's something we need to look into. If that information gets back to you, if an athlete comes to you with that type of information, bring it to me immediately and let's pursue it. Last thing we want to do is be accused of, sweeping something under the rug that only causes greater issues. All right, suspected child abuse. If you feel a situation maybe rises to that level, again, bring it to our attention, and we'll determine whether to move forward to Child Protective Services. The bottom line here is we're looking to get kids who need help. All right. A lot of times kids won't be direct in sharing the information, right? That may get a parent or someone else that they care about in trouble. But if you suspect, bring it to us and we'll run with it from there. And again, the bottom line is we're trying to help kids who may be in a difficult situation and just help the overall family situation if necessary. Harassment, my recommendation here is just don't touch athletes, avoid being alone with athletes. And then last note there, don't give an athlete a ride home, just you and the athlete in a car. The other thing I would say is, in celebration or what have you, I know we, caring for athletes is important, and I know, a lot of us do. That's what makes us you special as coaches. I would just recommend when it comes to hugs to let the athletes initiate that. Okay. I think that's just for your protection. Okay. All right, sportsmanship, our goal here is to, avoid any objections, to be a welcoming school, to have opponents and fans who come to our venues feel as if they've had a good experience. I ask you to, greet opponents as they get to events we host. I believe, having a conversation, letting people get to know us will help create positive perceptions, okay, of us and our programs, and you as coaches as well. So I ask you to do that. Emphasize to your athletes, fighting and hate speech are priorities right now. High emphasis, that is a emphasis from the Virginia High School League. Any of those types of ejections, okay, will result in three event suspensions. So please communicate that to your athletes so they understand what the climate is right now, in addition to, what's right. Procurement, just a reminder that any purchase, and you all been doing a great job of this, okay, continue to run those by us, Lisa and I, and we will take care of placing those orders. There's no longer reimbursement for tax, okay? So make sure, particularly probably for anyone helping out with concessions, any of your parents helping out with concessions, make sure they know this. Lisa and I, again, are happy to place orders and purchase items so that, nobody gets stuck eating the tax, okay? Um, Weight room, just a reminder, make sure we supervise athletes while they're in there to keep them safe. Let's keep it clean as well. We really are fortunate to have the weight room that we have here. It's an exceptional high school weight room. So continue, please, to treat it with respect and to supervise our kids. The Albemarle County Code of Conduct, this is the Code of Conduct referring to or referencing the illegal use of performance enhancing drugs, any just drugs, illegal drugs, alcohol, that type of thing, right? Vaping, all of that. Make sure you're familiar with that. If you hear of any rumors of, kids partaking, bring it to my attention. Again, nothing to be swept under the rug. Focus here again on trying to help athletes who may be going through a difficult time and try to get them the help if necessary. Okay. Vaping, still kind of a fairly big thing, probably not as big as it once was, but still seeing it. If you would, please monitor buses. My recommendation is just so that you guys as coaches know what's going on a bus, maybe someone sit back in the center of the bus, particularly if you have multiple teams on the same bus, just sit in the middle so you're a little closer to everybody and can possibly see and prevent that type of behavior from going on. Media, again, there's more and more media out there. Just be positive when discussing your opponent or officials. Y'all, again, have done a good job of this over the years. Anything negative, though, can have its own life. So keep it positive. And again, a reminder to help athletes, whatever your post-game comments are will often be regurgitated, so to speak, to the media, should the media interview your athletes. So just keep that in mind. Social media guidelines, just discuss social media. We had a athletic leadership council gathering over at Monticello about a month ago. Had a lot of our captains over there, leaders, athletic leaders there. And that was a big point of emphasis at that gathering with social media and the kids. Really, surprisingly, the thing that stuck with them is the realization of the life of social media, right? And how it never goes away. And so, that resonated with them. So I just share that with you as particularly maybe when we get into rivalry weeks and so forth, that we remind kids about that. And, to take the high road. No others often, particularly in those rivalry weeks, will, examples was hate weeks is a thing, and just, let's ignore it and take the high road. So, particularly on those rivalry weeks, let's be aware of that. Communication with athletes. For your protection, we are recommending the use of remind rather than text, okay, or email. The point here is that we want, for your protection, for entire conversations to be available, okay? And texting does not, can be deleted, right? So the school system has asked us to use Remind, which if none of you have used that before, you can set up to be a text to your athletes, okay? But it records the entire communication. So email is fine as well, but just something that will prevent the conversation from being deleted. Okay, reminder, hopefully everybody's gotten an invite to Lisa's Google Doc, the list of all athletes that have turned in physicals and activity registration. Both need to be completed before an athlete can participate, okay, in tryouts, okay. For the 7th of November, make sure you have access to that document. Hopefully you've been using it to check for out of season practices as well. That is a liability issue if we, allow someone to practice who does not fall on that list, does not have a physical submitted, and then, we have an injury. Please pay close attention to that, particularly the first couple of days of tryouts. Okay, we've got close to 570 kids on that list already, so we should have most of our athletes listed there right now. Okay, post-game transportation. What I'll say about transportation in general is that we are still operating under the operating where we are allowing athletes to transport themselves to athletic events. We're not saying I guess we should never require or ask athletes to do that, but if they choose to do it on their own, they can. And we're operating similarly in the past in terms of releasing an athlete after an event. If parents are at the contest and want to take their child with them, that's fine. Otherwise, if they're to ride home with someone other than a parent, we need the written note from a parent to that effect. Okay, and you are responsible. Anybody that rides the bus to an athletic event is expected to be on the bus riding back unless the parent or a note is provided. Okay. Cuts. Let's just be diligent in documenting our tryout information. Try to be as objective. Use objective measures as best you can, and include all coaches. Okay, shouldn't be fall on one coach, but more than one set of eyes, one set of judgments, I guess, in determining who does and who does not make a team. And we ask that you meet with any player that will be cut. Okay, and again, the conversation I recommend is how they can improve to give themselves a better chance of making a team the following year if they're not a senior. Okay, inclement weather for the winter. Just a reminder that if school's canceled, practices and athletic events are likely to be canceled as well. There are rare occasions where the county will reevaluate and make a decision around noon. If we have a 2-hour delay, any morning practices must be delayed by 2 hours as well. And just pay attention for those mornings where, we start 2-hour delay, but then it becomes a cancellation. Okay, just if you get a 2-hour delay, pay attention for a second decision coming. Okay, emergency action plans. We have venue-specific action plans, and we will have each team conduct a practice of their action plan. There'll be roles for coaches and players, and I will ask Nick to get together with each team in the preseason to go over that. I can tell you that I've got colleagues who've had the experience of having to implement these emergency action plans, and I know in one instance it was enough to save a life. And these emergency action plans, while they're obviously can help an athlete, they could help a coach as well. So I will ask Nick to do that with you here in the preseason. And just a reminder, former players that may come back, to help out every now and then, maybe guest coaches, no former players are allowed to participate in practice with a team. Okay. That's a liability issue that the county says we have to adhere to. Some administrative items real quick. We've got some rules clinics for basketball and girls and boys and wrestling. All of those are in person this year. And so please, if you haven't already addressed that, get that on your calendar to avoid that $50 fine. If we don't have a coach attend, we need one coach from each program to attend. Okay. Coaches' education requirements. I've sent the list of requirements. We have one new course this year, the cardiac, sudden cardiac arrest. Otherwise, it's courses that you should be somewhat familiar with, but we have to take each year. Let's try to knock all that out by November 5th before we start practices. Reminders, a coach has got to have all of the coach's education, both the annual and the one-time, completed in order to hold a practice without the trainer present. Okay, so point being there, if you want to have a practice when the trainer's unable to be present, then we've got to have a coach on duty who's completed all their coach's education. Impact testing, team photo schedules, I will get those out to you here shortly. Reminder, the website, Waz Warriors, that's where all our schedules are. I use the website to communicate changes and other information as well. So you can utilize that. I know we have some programs utilizing that to communicate with via their team pages. So if you'd like to talk to me about utilizing yours a little bit more, let me know. And then the Our School phone app, I think most of you should have access already. If you don't, let me know. But this is the app on your phone that you can get information on athletes, contact information for parents.
Teresa Miller, could you come to the main office, please? Teresa Miller to the main office.
Medical information, etc. So make sure you have access to that and let me know if you don't and need some help. I'm going to send an email out hopefully today with our Google Doc to order merchandise. I will tell you, please do this by the 21st so I can get the order in. I am still waiting on our fall merchandise, so it's taking a little while. So the sooner we can get that order in, hopefully the sooner we'll have it for the winter season. The one other thing I want to toss out to put on the agenda is that we have a group of students, and I don't know if any of you attended the fall meeting, but we have a group of students who have provided feedback to coaches on things they'd like to see in athletics, primarily just recommendations on how we can make their experience better. And they would like to address the winter coaches as well. And that will probably wait till we get started with practices, but I'll come up with a date. We'll come up with a date and we'll let you know. And it's about a 45-minute meeting. It's very good. Fall sport coaches felt really good about that conversation and input from the athletes. It was very well received. So we'll do the same thing with our winter sports. So that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions or anything to share? Okay. Just a reminder, November 7th and 8th, there is no school those days. So if you wish to adjust your practice times, let me know. Right now, I've got everybody except for everybody at their normal time, except for girls basketball on the 7th, starting a little earlier that afternoon. And that's what's posted on the website. So if you'd like to make a change, let me know and we'll get that information out. Okay. Okay, and if there are no questions, I appreciate you hopping on this morning. Looking forward to the winter. Anything we can do for you, just shoot Lisa and I an email and we'll get it taken care of. All right, have a good day.
Steve, is it the Our School Today app?
It's the Our School Today app, yes.
Got it. I'm going to download it, and I was making sure I was downloading the right one.
Yeah, that's the one. It's got a little baseball cap.
Yeah.
Icon, that's the one. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yep.